Have you ever played an RPG? That is, a role-playing game. The ones with classes, like the warrior who answers problems with their strength, or the archer keen of bow and eye, the mage whose talent surpasses others, and even the assassin that stalks the corner of your eye. But out of all these, let me draw your attention to one less lucrative than the others. The healer class. Throughout my experience with RPGs and other such media, the healer class is typically reserved for the more reserved individuals, the fodder of the background to say the least. Always needed, but never appreciated. In a server quite lacking in S-tier healers, I found it my purpose to become the strongest healer the server has ever seen. Okay. Now, after gaining consciousness in a mossy cave on the outreaches of a bustling city, there was but one thing on my mind, and that was to marvel at the beauty of this new, wonder-filled world. And shortly after, I was given info to peruse how progression works on this server.
Clear dungeons to earn levels. Systems to spend points on skills. Let's change class. That's quest. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. System. Let's see if I got any points to spend. Health 20, mana 60, stamina 20, physical damage 0, magic damage 1, projectile damage 1, movement speed 1, cooldown reduction 1, 2.0, class point 0, skill points 1. Okay. Okay, player info. Skill tree. Spirit Bolt. Launch small Spirit Bolt, damages enemies. Mana cost 10, cooldown 1 second, damage 80%. Intelligence plus 10. Novice healer. Okay, let's go novice healer. Yeah. That one, what did it do? Mana regeneration plus 2 every second. Wow. Okay, there's a good amount of progression then. Nice. Well, slash quest then. Okay, slash quest board. Okay. Okay, never mind. I guess I'm a nobody right now. How do I... Okay, well, I see I've got multiple bars. Got 20 health. And water, apparently. Oh well. I guess I just gotta become the world's greatest healer, or whatever.
Now, my first quest consisted of the extermination of what can only be described as overgrown moth-hornet swamp flies. But this is where I first noticed the limits of my attack stat, doing a measly 0.8 damage per hit. It seems my hereditary strat was going to be more time-consuming than I could have ever imagined. And after getting poisoned at least 27 times, it was my next duty to be escorted to the main gates of... I don't know, Hunter City, I guess? They didn't really make it look like Seoul from the anime. In any case, I was given directions to the prestigious Hunter Association 4. My hunter orientation. This sole building is the starting point of all hunters' journeys. And such, it is one of the most important landmarks in Hunter City, I guess. After finding it, I took a moment to peruse the current top guilds. Now, this next part is going to sound a little schizo, but there was a blonde clerk who was in charge of ranks right here, and she led me to the back of the building, albeit a bit slower than I would have liked, but then again, they're an NPC. The fact that they can even exist on this server only using a resource pack is wondrous. Now, right here in the back of the building, there was a mana testing device. You gotta believe me, it just didn't render in the flashback. But aside from rendering issues, let's stay penitent and get to the point. After testing on the machine, I was given the prestigious E rank, which is really just F rank, but they decided to go in actual alphabetical order instead of going straight to F. Which I can respect, because this is one of the first times there's been a tier system in a server, and I haven't been F rank. You have my absolute permission to let that sink in. No, really, open the door. Okay, well, the rank master here gave me some starter gear, quote unquote. I say quote unquote because it was diamond equivalent armor with 6,000 durability per piece. And if you've played Minecraft, you know how OP that is. And as for my next quest, I heard that there was a D rank gate that just popped up on the other side of town. It'd be a perfect way to break in the new gear. Now, while I'm moseying over to the first gate, I feel it is a perfect time to tell you exactly what's going on here. As many of you have noticed, this server is based off of the hit anime Solo Leveling. In this world, there are gates that pop up anywhere inexplicably, and they can be ranked anywhere from rank E all the way to rank S. And each one obviously scales in difficulty. Now, for those who don't know much about the anime, typically when you get your first rank, that's your rank for life. There's no way to level up, which is why it's called solo leveling. Incredible wordplay going on here. Inside of gates, you can find dungeons, which is how you get your rewards, and weapons, so you can level up throughout your adventure. But the main driving force of closing gates are dungeon breaks. If a gate exists for over 24 hours, the dungeon will break, and then the monsters from inside can swarm out and cause tons of mayhem. Loading into my first dungeon, I was immediately swarmed by my all-time least favorite enemy, skeletons. Being a player that started on Bedrock, you can hopefully understand why I loathe these absolute fiends. Regardless, please allow me to enlighten you on how the gameplay loop of a dungeon goes. First, you must vanquish the necessary amount of enemies as indicated by the dungeon on every kill. Then you will be led to the boss room for the final battle, where you and your teammates are given 10 seconds to assemble in the boss room before the boss fight begins. Anyone that is late will be locked out of the boss room till the boss is vanquished. Are you still following? Good. Now, the drops from the boss are typically chests of varying tiers, which are as follows: copper, iron, gold, and something better, possibly. I don't know that yet. But as for the loot, it is determined by many factors. The quicker you defeat the boss the better the tiers of the chests, and the rank and relative level of the boss determine how many slots in the chest are full of loot. Does that make sense? In short, what I'm saying is, my drop rates suck. Now, after waking up in a hospital bed, I was immediately given the task of speaking to the Hunter Association's head honcho, Mr. Chairman. Oh, yo, Akudian's online. Wait, how did that even get in my recording? I guess we can take this as a lesson to turn off your essentials when you're recording. Dang, what am I doing? Ah, I was going the wrong direction. Makes sense. Now, apparently, before I was allowed to speak with Mr. Chairman, I had to meet some of the locals. Now, I won't sugarcoat it, but after meeting these people and getting the quest they gave me, what ensued was nothing less than the most horrendous series of Catherine quests I have ever experienced. But I was down for it. The only real problem was the monotony of the quests. The items that they wanted you to gather were typically pretty far away from each other, so you could be smelting some bottles on the surface and then having to go down deep and grab some diamonds, and stuff like that. But after gathering everything, all I had to do was simply slash spawn and get back. How do I keyframe this? Who cares? Somebody's gotta be the first person to try this. Well, I was definitely not expecting that to happen, but I turned in all the stuff for the gathering quest and was finally given permission to see the chairman. When it came to speaking with him, all I had to do was walk up and simply say, "Excuse me, sir."
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
And now getting back on track, the chairman gave me the quest to clear 3 E-rank dungeons. Well, or above, but I think with my previous track record, we all know what that would end up being. Now, the most difficult thing about finding gates in the wild is that they have a random spawn chance, and they can be really anywhere between E and S, but I won't bore you with the details. Just know, I found some dungeons. Oh my, keybinds. Okay. Guys, ready to get this one done? Let's go. Yep, just a goblin dungeon. This took a while. But eventually, I made it to the boss room. With the magnitude of this honeycomb boss arena, I was half expecting a giant queen bee boss, but that really wouldn't fit with the theme of a goblin dungeon, now would it? But this one was on a completely different scale. It had about twice the health. So, how did I fare? Well, I won, obviously. Now simply multiply that victory 3 times, and that's all I did. Now acting completely giddy with 4 whole dungeons under my belt, I headed straight back to Mr. Chairman to report on my dungeon crawling progress. But the headmaster had no more quests for me, so I simply left. But when leaving, I felt some strange, mysterious aura to the right of me. Now, upon entering the dungeon, I was immediately attacked by multiple wolf-like assailants. Luckily, my recent intelligence upgrades allowed me to dispatch of them quite quickly. And for an added bonus, the boss room was easy to look at this time. I know that might not sound like much to you, but going through these dungeons for a bit, you can definitely get turned around. Now, if you've watched the anime, you probably recognize this dungeon, and more importantly, recognize the boss. A gargantuan cobra of most noble magnitude, so large that I had to go outside of the dungeon build just to capture its whole figure. Now tell me, how was someone like me supposed to be able to defeat such a large creature whose hitbox is invisible and continually blinks in and out of existence? Well, let me tell you, I just did. Now all that's left is to grab the loot and... Oh. I accidentally walked backwards into the portal. Oh well, loot probably sucked anyways. Well, I'm kind of hungry. Let's head back to the chairman. He probably has a quest for me now. Yeah. Dang. And funnily enough, the chairman did have a quest for me. A new portal had just opened up, and apparently, it was full of golems. Like the rest of the dungeons, I came into this one thinking it was going to be a piece of cake, something that could simply be done at my level, as the game intended. But oh, how naive I was. The Golem dungeon possessed two different enemies. The EXP Golem, which had a large amount of health and an incredible attack spread, and the Nether Golem, which had a good attack spread and enough health for a while. Yeah. Wowza. After chipping away at this for almost half an hour, I realized one thing. I was severely underleveled. So I grounded a few levels and got some new gear. It was still quite the slog to defeat Nether Golems, but I was still able to get the required 30 enemies to unlock the boss room. So after the world's 13th longest recorded jaywalk, I was able to make my way and meet the elusive boss to the Golem dungeon. I wonder how tanky he's gonna be. Or maybe the boss flips the script and ends up being an attack-based monster. Who knows? I guess we've gotta meet him, right? He must be intimidating, in the least. Well, any way it goes, it's bound to be a difficult and long boss fight. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I folded them like an omelet. So all I had to do afterwards was grab the loot and get the heck out of there. Still, I think it would have been better if I had an attack-based character in my team. Or if I even had a team. That way I wouldn't have to spend literally hours killing Nether Golems. Well, I ended up turning the quest in to Chairman, and I was promptly given another gathering quest. This time I had to break hundreds of ores. Yippee! But this time, as I RTP'd out into the world, I felt a sliver of accomplishment. Maybe just crazy, but I feel like there's a chance that I could become the strongest healer. But I need a team, and I think I know just the people.